everyone. Thanks for tuning in. My name's Peter Dinklage, and if you're watching this, you probably know me from a few roles here and there. Maybe that little show called Game of Thrones, or some indie films that snuck their way into your heart. But today, I want to talk about something a bit more personal, something that's been rattling around in my head for years. The title of this video, The Rejection That Saved My Life. Yeah, it sounds dramatic, I know, but stick with me. This isn't some Hollywood fairy tale. It's the raw truth of how one gut-wrenching no, or in my case, a self-inflicted one, can flip your world upside down in the best possible way. I'll try to keep it real, no sugarcoating, because life's too short for that. Pun intended. Let me take you back to the beginning, because every story like this starts in the mud, right? I was born in Morristown, New Jersey in 1969 to a family that was as average as they come. My dad an insurance salesman, my mom a music teacher. But me? I came into the world with achondroplasia, the most common form of dwarf. From day one, I was different, not in a cute, inspirational poster kind of way, but in the way that makes kids point and whisper, or worse, throw stones. Literally. I remember being 5 or 6, playing in the backyard, and these neighborhood boys would tease me relentlessly. Hey, shorty, can you even read? It hurt, man. It cut deep. I'd go home, lock myself in my room, and just stare at the ceiling wondering why I had to be the one dealt this hand. But here's the thing. My parents never let me wallow. They treated me like any other kid. No special treatment, no pity parties. My mom, bless her, would drive me to piano lessons and encourage me to perform. And my dad, he'd tell stories about underdogs who triumphed. I think that's where my love for acting sparked. I'd put on puppet shows and ballet shows in the basement for my family, using socks and cardboard boxes as props. I'd voice all the characters, kings, monsters, heroes, and for those few minutes, I wasn't the kid with dwarfism. I was whoever I wanted to be. School plays became my escape. In high school, I landed roles in musicals like Pippin and the Wiz. The stage was the one place where my height didn't define me. It enhanced me. People laughed with me, not at me. It was intoxicating. Fast forward to college. I went to Bennington in Vermont, this artsy, progressive place where wit was celebrated. I majored in drama, dove head first into theater. It was liberating. Experimental plays, late night rehearsals, bonding with me. But even there, doubt crept in. I'd look in the mirror and think, how the hell is this going to work in the real world? Hollywood wasn't exactly rolling out the red carpet for actors under 4'6". Still, I graduated in '91 with stars in my eyes and moved to New York City with a couple of buddies from school. We started this ragtag theater company called the Sixth Borough. Don't look it up. It fizzled out pretty quick. We perform in dingy lofts and basements, avant-garde stuff that maybe 10 people showed up for. Half of them are friends. Reality hit hard, though. Acting didn't pay the bills. I needed a day job, so I landed one at this place called Professional Examination Service, doing data processing. Punching numbers into computers all day, staring at screens until my eyes blurred. It was soul-crushing, but it kept the lights on, barely. My apartment in Brooklyn was a shoebox, no heat in winter, cockroaches as roommates, and a mattress on the floor. I'd come home exhausted, reeking of stale coffee and rehearse lines in front of a cracked mirror. Auditions? Well, that's a funny word. See, I didn't do many traditional ones. I knew the industry saw me as a novelty, a punchline waiting to happen. Offers would come in for elves, leprechauns, garden gnomes, commercials where I could be the butt of the joke, literally. Hey, Peter, we need a little guy to dance around in a green suit for this beer ad. No thanks. I'd politely decline, even when my bank account screamed otherwise. Those years were a grind. I'd go months without work, scraping by on ramen and IOUs to friends. I remember one winter, or so, when the heat went, I would go. I'd bundle up in every sweater I owned, huddle under blankets, and read scripts by flashlight because the electric bill was overdue. My girlfriend at the time, well, ex now, would beg me to take those gigs. Just one, Peter. It could lead to something. But I couldn't. It felt like selling my soul. I'd think about Shakespeare, you know, Richard III, this deformed king who's cunning and tragic, not comic relief. I played him once in a tiny off-Broadway production, and it lit a fire in me. Why couldn't I be that? Why did the world insist on reducing me to a stereotype? It was existential, almost Camus, like the absurdity of pushing that boulder uphill only to watch it roll back down. Sisyphus and his rock, me and my rejections. But let's get to the heart of it, the rejection that nearly broke me. It was around 1998, I think. I just quit my data job after 6 long years. I was 29, staring down 30, and I told myself, this is it! Full-time actor or bust! No safety net! My friends thought I was... Peter, you're talented, but the industry's brutal. They weren't wrong. A few months in, an offer came through my agent back then, a scrappy guy who believed in me more than I did. It was for a fantasy film. Big A! Big studio! Decent paycheck! The role... a mischievous dwarf sidekick to the hero, complete with bells on my hat and lines like, "Oh, master, your boots are too big for little old me." Oh, it's everything I'd sworn. Oh, yeah. But God, I needed the money. Rent was due. Fridge was empty. Literally, just a half-eaten apple and some mustard. I agonized over it for days. Paced my freezing apartment, chain smoked on the fire escape, staring at the Brooklyn skyline like it held answers. In the end, I said no. Turned it down flat. The agent was furious. Peter, this could open doors, but I knew better. It would pigeonhole me forever. That rejection, my own really, felt like the end. I hung up the phone, sank to the floor, and sobbed. Ugly cried, snot and all. What have I done? I thought. I'm done. No one's going to hire me now. Depression hit like a truck. Days blurred into nights. I'd lie in bed, replaying every missed opportunity. Friends checked in, but I pushed them away. I even considered going back to data entry, hat in hand. It was my lowest point, questioning my purpose, my worth. Why fight when the world keeps saying no? And yet, in that darkness, something shifted. Rejection forces you to confront yourself, doesn't it? I started reading more philosophy, mostly Nietzsche's idea of amor fati, loving your fate, resonated. Embrace the struggles. They're what forge you. I think about my childhood bullies, how their cruelty pushed me toward acting as armor. It stripped away illusions, made me realize I wasn't just fighting for roles. I was fighting for dignity. For every kid like me who felt invisible. Slowly, I picked myself up. Did some theater gigs for peanuts. Networked in dive bars with directors who saw beyond my height. Then, the turning point. About a year later, in 2002, I got a call for the station agent. No audition, just a meeting with the director, Tom McCarthy. He'd seen my work in Living in Oblivion, that indie flick from '95 where I played a frustrated dwarf actor ranting about dream sequences. Ironic, huh? Anyway, Tom wanted me for Finbar, this reclusive train enthusiast living in isolation. It was a lead role, nuanced, human, no jokes about my size. I read the script and wept again, but good tears this time. Filming was magic. Me, Patricia Clarkson, Bobby Cannavale, shooting in rural New Jersey. It premiered at Sundance in 2003, and boom, standing ovations, awards buzz, critics rave. Dinklage commands the screen. It was validation I'd craved for decades. That film changed everything. Doors I'd banged on for years swung open. I landed roles in Elb. Yeah, the angry Elb, but on my terms, and find me guilty with Vin Diesel. Then, in 2010, the big one, Game of Thrones. The producer sought me out for Tyrion Lannister. No audition needed. George R.R. Martin wrote him as clever, wounded, larger than life, despite his stature. It mirrored my journey. 8 seasons, 4 Emmys, global fame. I married Erica, had kids, built a life I never dreamed possible. Films like Cyrano, where I sang and sword fought, proving heights, no barrier to romance. Broadway. Voice work, producing, it's all flowed from that one no, I said back in '98. Looking back, that rejection wasn't a death sentence, it was a lifeline. It forced me to bet on myself, to wait for roles that honored who I am. If I'd taken that gig, I'd be typecast, forgotten. Instead, it redirected me toward authenticity. And isn't that the point? Life's full of no's, jobs, relationships, dreams, shattered. But each one clears the path for something truer. As Hemingway put it in, the sun also rises, we go. Broke gradually, then suddenly. Growth is like that too. Painful increments, then breakthrough. So, if you're watching this, nursing your own rejection, hear me. It's not the end. It's the pivot. Embrace it. Reflect. Transform. Rejection isn't failure. It's the universe whispering, not this way. Better awaits. Trust me, I've lived it. Thanks for listening.